There is a lot of misconception about Siddhas and their connection with Vedanta or any other form of worship, Ayurveda, and other. Siddhas, although know many things, are not related to Vedanta. They're actually over Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of knowledge. When the knowledge ends, there begins absorption within. Spirituality, which is taught by Siddhas and experienced first of all by Siddhas, is very simple. It is about awakening of self. It is about growth through life and observation of self on various dimensions, emotions, thoughts. It is deep purification of self through establishing self, or first discovering that subtle breath that connects one with that unlimited self within. And this knowledge is no knowledge, it's a being. It's a deep yet active absorption where one is able to perform activities yet being absorbed. Highly intellectual yet simple and selfless. That's what Siddha is. Siddhas were against any worship, any temples, any religion, any complex spirituality, any conditioning in any form. That's why many times they assumed the life of avaduts, meaning beings who live freely. Their presence is that knowledge, is that seed that they could pass on beyond Shastras, beyond Puranas, beyond Vedas. That knowledge came through the subtle breath, not through vigorous exercises or breathing exercises, like many not knowledgeable people interpret. They interpret writings of Siddhas in the light of misinterpreted Yoga Sutras of Patanjali or commercial yoga. They interpret vital breath that is the fruit of self-awakening and can't be practiced as pranayam. Pranayam has nothing to do with a subtle breath. Pranayam is ability to observe one's energy flow within the body only when one is established within. That establishment is the root, and that root is within one's head. The key to this root is that subtle breath that arises spontaneously. That subtle breath deepens and leads one to self. to perfection, to understanding this reality beyond. So when knowledge dies, the subtle breath arises, manifests within. The subtle breath comes with absorption, with bliss. And it brings all the knowledge, all the siddhis, all the understanding of written and not written knowledge. That is the teaching of Siddhas. It is not New Age play. It is very simple, yet so difficult. Difficult because we want complexity. So when we want and search for complexity, we get it. We manifest it from within. We're incapable of manifesting anything beyond our intellectual capacity. But awakening brings that breakthrough. One's conditioned mind, and with time, subtle breath arises. With time, natural concentration, absorption arises, and one perceives through that perception, through that blissful awareness. One can know without effort. That's the Siddha path. That's the pathless path. Can you learn it? No. Can you copy it? No. Can you pretend to be that? Try. Many tried, mostly failed. So we can always try, but the moment the trial stops, the awakening begins. That's the experience. You can do whatever you wish, and you can practice whatever you wish. You can enjoy various concepts and ideas. You can study the flow of words from books you consider holy. You can project your holiness onto others and hallucinate about that. But spirituality is too simple to grasp for a complex, conditional mind. That is why it remains hidden. That is why it remains unknown. That is why it can't be speculated upon. Once it becomes complex, it loses its simplicity, it loses its presence. And it is the play of mind again. In order to be self, we do not need much. But our mind wishes to walk somewhere, wishes to pursue something, because it understands only action. It understands effort. When the effort ends, the subtle breath begins. The whole perfection, the whole purification happens through that subtle breath. The whole establishment in self happens through that subtle breath. And various states of consciousness and absorption arise only through the subtle breath. all the chakras as we don't know them are with head. They have nothing to do with our body. Chakras are states of consciousness before we perceive self in unconditional, formless way. So those chakras that you learned about do not exist. What you think of chakras is how our glands and nervous plexuses, vital organs that are directly connected with our brain and with the primitive function of mind. They store information, emotional, mental information in themselves, thus manifesting our body and the state of the body as we know it. So when you hear about chakras, you hear about your glands, you hear about your vital organs and nothing more. So what spirituality are you pursuing? What yoga are you pursuing? Can there be many yogas or just one union of the subtle breath with the self? Out of that union, everything sprouts out. So maybe it's the time to stop speculating, to stop deluding people and yourself, leaning back and just being self. It's much simpler than you thought. It is through presence that we learn. The true knowledge cannot be explained in words, but it can be felt and perceived through presence. And that's the difference between pseudo-knowledge and the true experiential knowledge. Those who can see it, those who can feel it, those who can perceive it, will grow the seed within themselves, within their chamber, in their head, with their subtle breath. The subtle breath is not a normal breath. There are many patterns of breath which manifest this reality in our body, and this reflect on the status of our health and our mental conditioning. But there is only one yogic subtle breath that leads us to self, to perfection, and to freedom from conditioning. That's the Siddha science, that's the Siddha path, and nothing more. Siddha.